Whether you're burrowing through the ground, slithering through the forest, or even flying along the spires overhead, there is no escape from your inevitable demise at the hands of the Slivers. The Slivers High Power Cedh Deck Tech is an incredibly powerful combo deck. The main goal of this deck is to spam mana and combo off between turns 1 to 3. You can also go along with control, getting protection on board, such as Shroud, Flying, etc. Getting your commander on board, and then tutoring for whatever answers you need to be able to protect your board state and swing in for a one-hit win. Once slivers like Queen and Basil, along with protection, are in play, it is as simple as turning your board state sideways to get every single sliver in your entire deck on board that same turn. This is a combo deck that is heavy on aggro with a Cedh control suite, 5+ infinite mana combos to get whatever I want on board at any time, 3 auto win combos, and an impressive board state that can easily win by brute force. There are 4 main packages to this deck that allow it to function. The Tutor Package. The Tutor Package in this deck contains all of the usual suspects, as well as a few fun and flavorful inclusions. Vampiric Tutor. For 1 black mana, search your library for a card, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. You lose 2 life. Demonic Tutor. For 1 and a black mana, search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. Possibly the strongest tutor in all of Magic the Gathering. Worldly Tutor. For a green mana, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. Mystical Tutor. For 1 blue mana, search your library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top. It is also a good last-ditch effort to search for something like a Demonic Tutor to, in a pinch, get the card you need to win on the spot. Gamble. For 1 red mana, search your library for any card, then put that card into your hand, then randomly discard 1 card. So you have a chance to get the card you want. You also have a chance to lose that card, but it's a very powerful tutor in red. Aladamari's Call. For a green and a white, search your library for a creature card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Scheming Symmetry. 1 black mana. Choose 2 target players. Each of them searches the library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts a card on top of it. Ideally, you choose yourself and a player who is not playing blue, so they have no way to stop you from going off. Imperial Seal. For 1 black mana, search your library for a card, then shuffle and put that card on top. You lose 2 life. Demonic Consultation. 1 black mana. Name a card, remove the top 6 cards of your library from the game, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal the card that you had named. Put that card into your hand and remove all the cards this way from the game. It is good as a last-ditch effort to search up a card you need to win on the spot, but it is more valuable as a combo piece with Thassa's Oracle. Tainted Pact. For 1 colorless and a black, exile the top card of your library. You may put that card into your hand unless it has the same name as another card exiled this way. Repeat this process until you put a card into your hand or exile 2 cards with the same name, whichever comes first. Again, a good tutor to search up just the card you need in the moment, but it is much stronger to win on the spot with Thassa's Oracle. Enlightened Tutor. 1 white. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal it, shuffle it, and put that card on top. The Control Package. In this deck, the Control Package is possibly the most potent package in the deck. Starting with Pact of Negation. 0 cost. Instant. Counter target spell. At the beginning of your next upkeep, pay 3 blue. If you don't, you lose the game. An offer you can't refuse. Blue. Instant. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. Force of Will. 3 blue, blue. You may pay 1 life and exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Counter target spell. Force of Negation. 1 blue, blue. If it's not your turn, you may exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell. If that spell was countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. Mana Drain. Blue, blue. Instant. Counter target spell. At the beginning of your next main phase, add an amount of colorless mana equal to that spell's mana value. Fierce Guardianship. 2 and a blue. Instant. If you control your commander, you may cast the spell without paying its mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell. Deflecting Swat. 2 and a red. Instant. If you control a commander, you may cast the spell without paying its mana cost. You may choose new targets for the spell or ability. Flusterstorm. Blue. Instant. Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless the controller pays 1. Storm. When you cast a spell, copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copies. The Ramp Package. In a deck with a 5-color commander, being able to cast it on turn 1 to 3, you need a lot of ramp, which is the most pricey part of the deck. But with high price comes high reward. Chrome Mox. 0 cost artifact. Imprint. When Chrome Mox enters the battlefield, you may exile a non-artifact non-land card from your hand. Tap to add 1 mana of any of the exiled card's colors to your mana pool. Mox Diamond. 0 cost artifact. If Mox Diamond would enter the battlefield, you may discard a land card instead. If you do, put Mox Diamond onto the battlefield. If you don't, put it into its owner's graveyard. Tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Mox Amber. 0 cost legendary artifact. Tap to add 1 mana of any color among legendary creatures and planeswalkers you control. Lotus Petal. 0 cost artifact. Tap, sacrifice Lotus Petal. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. Mana Vault. 1 cost artifact. Mana Vault does not untap during your untap step. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 4. If you do, untap Mana Vault. At the beginning of your draw step, if Mana Vault is tapped, it deals 1 damage to you. Tap to add 3 colorless mana. Arcane Signet. 2 cost artifact. Tap to add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. Sol Ring. 1 cost artifact. Tap to add 2 colorless mana. Basalt Monolith. 3 cost artifact. Basalt Monolith does not untap during your untap step. Tap to add 3 colorless to your mana pool. Pay 3, untap Basalt Monolith. Mana Echoes. 2 red enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may add an amount of colorless mana equal to the number of creatures you control that share a creature type with it. The Combo Package. In this deck, the Combo Package enables you to win as early as turn 1 with a good hand. But turn 3 wins are typically the norm with this deck. Starting off with Isochron Scepter. 2 cost artifact. Imprint. When Isochron Scepter comes into play, you may remove an instant card with converted mana cost 2 or less in your hand from the game. The removed card is imprinted on this artifact. Pay 2 and tap. You may copy the instant card in play without paying its mana cost. Dramatic Reversal. 1 and a blue. Untap all non-land permanents you control. Food Chain. 2 and a green. Enchantment. Exile a creature you control. Add X mana of any 1 color where X is 1 plus the exile creature's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. Squee the Immortal. 1 red, legendary creature goblin. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. Swift Reconfiguration. White Enchantment Aura. Flash. Enchant creature or vehicle. Enchanted permanent is a vehicle artifact with crew 5 and loses all other card types. Vizier of Remedies. 1 white. Creature human cleric. If one or more -1/-1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many -1/-1 counters -1 are put on it instead. Devoted Druid. 1 green. Creature, elf druid. Tap to add 1 green mana. Put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid. Untap Devoted Druid. Intruder Alarm. 2 blue. Enchantment. Creatures do not untap during their controller's untap steps. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, untap all creatures. Heartstone. 3 cost artifact. Activated abilities of creatures cost 1 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana an ability costs to activate to less than 1 mana. Training Grounds. 1 blue enchantment. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1 mana. Rings of Brighthearth. 3 cost artifact. Whenever you play an activated ability, if it isn't a mana ability, you may pay 2. If you do, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. Thassa's Oracle. Blue creature, Merfolk Wizard. When Thassa's Oracle enters the battlefield, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue. Put up to 1 of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. Pili-Pala. 2 cost artifact creature, Scarecrow. Flying. Pay 2, untap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Grand Architect. 1 blue. Creature, Vidalcan Artificer. Other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. Pay 1 blue, target artifact creature becomes blue until end of turn. Tap an untapped blue creature you control, add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. Amoeboid Changeling. 1 and a blue, creature shapeshifter. Changeling. This card is every creature type at all times. Tap, target creature gains all creature types until end of turn. Tap, target creature loses all creature types until end of turn. Sliver Queen. White, blue, black, red, green. Legendary creature, Sliver. Pay 2 mana, put a 1/1 colorless Sliver creature token onto the battlefield. Basal Sliver. 2 black. Creature Sliver. All slivers have sacrifice this creature, add black to your mana pool. The mana base. The mana base is very important that all of our lands come out fast, untapped, and can tap for multiple colors. So we are running a 35 land mana base. We are running, first off, all 10 fetch lands, all 10 shock lands, all 10 battle bond lands, which come in untapped as long as you have 2 or more opponents, as well as 5 utility lands. For the 5 utility lands, we have chosen Sliver Hive for mana of any color to cast slivers, Cavern of Souls for mana of any color and making our slivers uncounterable, City of Brass to ping 1 damage but add mana of any color, Mana Confluence to ping 1 damage but add mana of any color, and the classic Command Tower. Now to explain the combos of this deck as well as how it wins. With Sliver Queen and Basal Sliver, you can generate infinite ETB triggers. With Sliver Queen, Basal Sliver, and Lava Belly Sliver, you gain infinite life and deal infinite damage. With Sliver Queen, Mana Echoes, you get infinite slivers and colorless mana. Sliver Queen, Manawef Sliver, or Gemhide Sliver, plus Intruder Alarm, you can gain infinite slivers and mana.
with Sliver Queen, Basil Sliver, Gem Hide Sliver, or Heart Sliver. You can also gain infinite slivers in mana. Rings of Bright Hearth paired with Basalt Monolith is infinite colorless mana. Food Chain plus Squee the Immortal is infinite mana of all colors. Pilipala and Grand Architect, using Grand Architect to make Pilipala blue, generates infinite mana of all colors. Devoted Druid and Vizier of Remedies generates infinite green mana. Devoted Druid with Swift Reconfiguration also generates infinite green mana. Isochron Scepter with Dramatic Reversal or Isorev combo is infinite mana with at least 3 non-land mana producers on board, like Soul Ring for 2 and any Mana Rock for 1, or having several slivers with a Gem Hide. You're guaranteed infinite mana. If you have infinite colorless or colored mana with Sliver Overlord in play, it is very possible to gain infinite slivers, mana, and damage, put all your slivers in play, do infinite ping, infinite life gain, etc. Thassa's Oracle, and then casting Demonic Consultation or Tainted Pact in response, makes it so you have no cards in your library, you go to draw, and you win the game on the spot. Using Amoeboid Changeling to make an opponent's commander or troubling creature into a sliver, and then using Sliver Overlord to steal that, puts it on your board and adds an extra line of protection. There are certain lines of play, such as Enlightened Tutor being best to search up something like Mana Echoes or Intruder Alarm. Scheming Symmetry only being used to target a non-blue player so that they can't just tutor up some counter magic to stop your combo. It's a good idea to set up protection like Shroud or Flash before trying to combo off, so that way you can protect yourself. The deck only has one way to recur combo pieces like Sliver Queen from the graveyard with Dregscape Sliver, so adding protection, Shroud, counterspells is a must. There are cards like Training Grounds or Heartstone that can make comboing off for infinite ETB triggers, slivers, and mana, making it so your search only costs 1 mana instead of 3. It makes it so much easier, so these are cards that are very helpful on board if you can get them on early. Try to always have a free counterspell, something like Deflecting Swat or Fierce Guardianship, to stop yourself from being wiped or to protect your combo. This can be an incredibly fast combo deck with an impressive mana base that can win as easy as turn 1, usually around turn 3, maybe turn 4, and can outpace tempo decks, has the ability to fight with massive creatures and just win through damage, and it is not really on most people's radars. They don't see it coming, they'll often just leave you alone, and you can just, sneak out some amazing wins. Is it a tier 1 CEDH deck? No. Can it beat a tier 1 CEDH deck? Yes. On my Twitch at Crackapackpokemon, I've entered several lobbies and several tables on CEDH, and I am currently undefeated as of the filming of this video with this deck in CEDH lobbies. It is hyper aggressive, and it can easily take down tier 1 decks like Ad Nauseam, Kinnan, Thrasios, Rogra, but it can also lose if you do not have adequate protection for your combo. If you have Overlord and infinite mana out, something like Pilipala Grand Architect for example, and they try to remove one of your pieces, you can instant speed activate Overlord, flash in Quick Sliver to give all your slivers flash, then flash in something like Crystalline Sliver to give Shroud and protection. The success of this deck is very meta dependent, and you should feel free to tweak it. Maybe add a bit more counter, a bit more removal, depending on your current meta. But still, Slivers has endless combo, ramp, and just aggro potential. If cards like Mana Crypt and Jewel Lotus become unbanned, or more cheap infinite mana engines are printed, the viability only increases. Thank you very much. I will be posting in the description a link to this list as well as a budget version of it. So, have a good one.
My scars have tell through town. One from chaos, united they stand. Slivers arise across the land with scales of steel and eyes of flame. They march as one, they bear no name. Their magic pulses and power grows. In the heart of battle, the legend flows. Riches of the arcane masters of the mystic they reign. Through forests dark and mountains high, their legacy will never die. With each encounter they evolve, adapting swiftly problems they solve. From shimmering plains to murky seas, slivers unite their foes they seize. With venomous fangs and wings outspread, they hunt the prey, no tears are shed. Their heart alive with ancient law. In the realm of magic they soar. Slivers of the arcane masters of the mystic they reign. Through forests dark and mountains high, their legacy will never die. Through spells of old and secrets untold, they weave their fate in stories bold. A symphony of chaos, a dance of fate. Slivers arise, they dominate names. Slivers unite the foes they seize. Riches of the arcane masters of the mystic they reign. Through forests dark and mountains high, their legacy will never die. In the tapestry of magic they leave their mark. Slavers of power, glowing in the dark. In the game of destiny they take their place. Forever remember in the cosmic race. With claws of steel and hearts ablaze, slivers stand tall in the haze. Their roar echoes through the night as they conquer realms with all their might.